And if you would, please state your name and spell it.
Vertez Gonzalez. Spell it VERTEZ-GONZALES. My bad, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay. Go ahead, Mr. Austin.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gonzalez, I want to start by just asking you a couple of background questions. How old are you right now?
I'm 19.
Did you know somebody by the name of Zion Foster?
Yes. My bad.
Yeah, if you can just make sure instead of moves or it's just yes or no. What was your relationship with Zion Foster?
She was my girlfriend.
How long had you been your girlfriend?
Like 7 months.
And did you know her before you started dating, or?
Probably like a couple weeks or something. Probably a month. I don't know exactly.
Okay. How did the two of you meet?
I think on social media, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
During the course of your relationship with Zion, did you become aware of somebody by the name of Jaylin Brazier?
Yes.
And did you ever have any sort of direct contact with Mr. Brazier, like in person?
No.
Did you ever see him visually in any other sort of way?
Through like pictures that she probably had took. That's really it. But nothing like nothing like me having a phone and being on the phone. No, nothing like that. So no.
Okay. Do you remember having any type of FaceTime calls where you would have seen him?
Not that I remember. No.
Okay. Fair enough. I want to ask you about the night of January 4th of 2022. Do you remember that night?
Yes.
And that night, were you with Zion?
No.
And is there any particular reason why you weren't with Zion on that specific night?
No. No particular reason.
Do you remember? Have you ever had COVID?
Oh yeah. Yes. I had COVID like a couple weeks before that. She had COVID too.
Okay. And so were you guys keeping your distance at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have contact with Zion on that particular night?
Yes.
And was that contact in the form of text messages?
Yes.
And was the contact also in the form of talking to her on the phone?
Yes.
Did you also have any video calls with her that night?
Yes.
Okay. And based on your contact with her, did you form any understanding or impression of who she was with that night?
Yes.
And what did you understand to be the situation in terms of who she was with that night?
She told me she was going to hang with her cousin. My favorite cousin.
Okay.
So.
And did you know the name of that favorite cousin?
Yes.
What was that favorite cousin's name?
Jaylin.
Okay. And I want to ask about some text messages holding what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 12. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
And you, it's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 12. Have you reviewed that exhibit previously?
Yes.
And does that appear to be a report that contains messages that you either sent or received from Zion Foster on January 4th and January 5th of 2022?
Yes. Let me see. You talking about these right here? You talking about from him, or you saying from her?
From her, with Zion.
You asking me? My bad. I'm trying to make sure.
Yeah, let me make sure I ask a clear question. So, why don't you take a look at that document for
the whole thing, or just this one?
Just skim it and let me know once you've had an opportunity to familiarize yourself with it.
These look like the message between me and him.
You know, that's my bad. I think I had to get it wrong phone. Let me, we'll get back to that in a minute. All right, holding what has been marked actually is proposed exhibit 9. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And sorry about the confusion there, Mr. Gonzalez. Can you take a look at proposed exhibit 9? Does that appear to contain messages between you and Zion?
Yes.
And does that appear to contain messages that you, the two of you, sent each other on January 4th and January 5th of 2022?
Yep. Before. Yep. Yes.
And did you had a cell phone at around that time?
You said I have a cell phone?
Yeah, cell phone.
Oh yes.
And at some point during the investigation, did you give the police your cell phone so that they could forensically analyze it?
Yes.
And that document that you're holding right now that's marked as proposed exhibit 9, is it your understanding that comes from the essentially like the download of your phone that the police did?
Yes.
And does that appear to fairly and accurately depict the communications that you had with Zion back on January 4th
Yes.
and January 5th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, I move to admit proposed exhibit 9.
No objection. All right, submitted.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
I just want to walk through a couple of these messages, Mr. Gonzalez. Your Honor, is it all right if I sit down while I'm scrolling through this? Thank you. And for the record, publishing Exhibit 9. Okay, and if we just start with the first row of messages, Mr. Gonzalez, you see where it says there's a column that says direction up at the very top?
Yes.
And in row number 1, what does the direction say?
Outgoing? Yeah.
Okay. And do you see where it says there's another column that says timestamp?
Time. Oh, yeah, I see.
What's the date and time reflected for that first message?
1/4/22, and it's at 9:30.
Okay, and you see the column right next to it where it says the party. The section where it says from, and there's a contact that says Bert. Is that you?
Yes.
And then it says to, and there's a number, and the contact is wife with a heart emoji. Who is that contact?
Zion.
That was how you had Zion in your phone? Okay. And was that her number at the time, 313-913-5931?
Yes.
Okay. And the body of this message, under the column description, what does it say?
Under the first one, right?
Yeah, under the first one.
I don't.
You see where it says almost up at the top?
Oh, almost off. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to, I guess, move along and ask about a couple of specific times, and I want to scroll down to row 10. Okay. On page 2, do you see that message? Okay. What?
Yes. My bad.
What time was that message sent?
10:22
And was that a message from Zion or to Zion?
from her. I guess incoming. Yeah.
And what did that message say?
I got the worst headache in the world.
Okay. And then, did you have an understanding whether or not she was working that night?
Yes.
Okay. And it looks like there's some communications about her getting off work, is that right?
Yes.
I want to continue to scroll down here.
And for those of you in the jury box, particularly jurors 9 and 10, I realize you almost have to be a bit of a giraffe to see the bottom there. If you're having difficulty, you can move up closer or sit over there. You don't have to ask permission, you just go and do it. We recognize it's not an ideal spot for it, but that's where it is. Thank you.
At some point, did you have a phone conversation with Zion that night?
Yes.
When you were on the phone with her, do you remember approximately what time it was?
Between probably like, he was like, I can be around like probably 11 or 12, 10, 11 or 12, around, I don't know exactly what time, not but.
But sometime late that night on the phone.
Yes.
And during that conversation, did you hear anyone else's voice in the background?
I believe so. I don't really remember that well.
You don't remember at this point?
Yeah, at this point.
Okay.
Are you talking about? I heard him when she was getting in the car with him earlier, but I didn't hear him when she was at the actual house.
Okay, let's talk about the first time you were on the phone with Zion that night. Okay, when you said she was getting into a car at that point. So is it fair to say you had multiple conversations with her over the phone that night?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And during the first conversation you had with Zion, did you hear? Was this a voice call or a video call?
It was a voice call, regular call.
A regular call. Okay. And did you hear any voices in the background?
Yes.
The voice. Did you hear one or more voices in the background other than Zion?
Just one.
And did you have any familiarity with that voice from previously hearing it?
Yes.
And based on your familiarity with that voice, did you have any impression of whose voice that was?
Yes.
And whose would that have been?
Her cousin, Jaylin.
Okay. And so had you heard his voice before over the phone then?
I heard her talking to him in the background. We was on the phone before.
Okay. And you said there was another point where you were on the phone with her, but you couldn't hear anything at that point. Is that right? Anything else in the background?
Like, are you saying like hear somebody else? That's what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't really hear nobody else at that point when she got to the house.
Okay. And I want to ask, did you know whether Zion had location sharing enabled on her phone?
Yes. Yes.
And did you have the ability to view the location of Zion's phone using your own phone?
Yes.
And at some point that night on January 4th, did you look at the location of Zion's phone?
Yes.
And did you take a screenshot of that?
Yes.
And I'm holding what's been marked as proposed exhibit 10. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Is proposed exhibit 10, is that a copy of the screenshot that you took of the location of Zion's phone?
Yes.
And is that fair and accurately depict what you physically saw when you went into the location sharing app on your phone that night?
Yes.
And is that time stamped January 4th at 11:24 p.m.?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to exhibit 10.
Okay. All right. Submitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
Okay, and so what is, are you familiar with these streets that are depicted here on Exhibit 10?
Like, do I know where it's at? Are you saying like have I seen her there before? Basically,
Yeah,
her
have
location?
have you ever been over to that area directly?
I mean, not when she was there, but like yeah, I've been over there before. Yeah.
Okay, and what are these cross streets, if you can just...
Greenfield, St. Martin's Ave, and Vassar, I think that's how you say it.
Okay, and is that on the west side of Detroit?
Yes.
And have you known Zion to be over in that location before?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know of anybody who lives near that location?
Yes.
And who's that?
Her cousin.
Okay. And let me ask, when you took that screenshot on January 4th at 11:24 p.m., what prompted you to do that?
Just trying to make sure she's straight, like make sure she, checking her location.
Okay. Did you, did you have any concerns about her hanging out with her cousin?
Sort of, kind of, you feel me, but not really because, her friend told me some stuff about him, and I'm just like,
Objection to whatever her friend.
I mean, ask the question.
Yeah, without getting into anything that anybody else said, but were you? Let me just ask it this way: were you thrilled that she's hanging out with her cousin without you that night?
Come on, no, not really.
Was there maybe a bit of jealousy, a little bit?
No.
No, but you still weren't happy that she was hanging out with her cousin that night.
I mean, I ain't gonna say I wasn't happy. I just was like, just make sure she was good. Like, it's really not.
Okay, so at this point, at 11:24, were you worried at all?
No, I don't think so at this time. I don't think so at this time. No.
Okay. All right, I want to go back to Exhibit 9, and if we scroll down to the message that's numbered 140, I think that's going to be on page 16. Oh, I'm sorry. Got the wrong message. Let's start with message 53 on page 6. You know when you're at that page.
I'm here.
Okay. And if you look at number 53, is that an outgoing message or incoming message?
Outgoing.
Okay, and you would have sent that to Zion?
Yes.
And what time was that message sent based on the report?
10:52.
And what did you write to Zion at that time?
I said I don't want to be OTP. That makes me. I don't got a phone.
On the phone? Okay. And what's the very next message down? What did you say following up with that?
When you with your cousin.
Okay. And that next message was sent just a few seconds later. Is that right?
Yes.
So what did you mean when you said I don't want to be on the phone when you're with your cousin?
Just don't want to be on the phone when you like out. Basically. Yeah.
Okay. And which cousin were you referring to when you wrote that?
Jaylin.
Okay. And going down to number 55 on the very next page at the top, is this another outgoing message?
Yes.
And what time was this sent?
At 10:53.
Okay. And what did you write to Zion at that time?
Not trying to have stuff weird, basically. Shit weird.
Okay. What did you mean by that at that time?
I really don't remember. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay. And then
Probably the same. Referring to the same thing I was just talking about.
number 56, is that also an outgoing message?
Yes.
And what time was that sent?
10:53.
And what did you write at that time?
I want you to have your times. I want your times. I don't know what I said. I want you to have your times. You confirmed it was him. I want you to basically chill with him. Like,
Okay.
I confirmed that it was him when I heard his voice on the phone.
And what was the very next message that you wrote to her?
I said I heard bro voices, so it's cool.
Okay. And whose voice again are you referring to when you say that? I want to scroll down to message 63. Is that an incoming or outgoing message?
Incoming.
And what time did Zion send that message to you?
11:16.
And what did she write to you at that time?
Here.
Okay. What did you understand that to mean?
She was at her location.
Okay. I want to scroll down to number 92 on page 11.
Yes.
Was that an outgoing message or an incoming message?
Outgoing.
And what time did you send that message?
At 12:03.
And that would be the just after midnight on January 5th.
Yes.
And what did you write to Zion at that time?
What time are you going home? What time are you going home?
And what did she respond? If you can look at the very next two messages.
She said we finna smoke again.
And then what was her follow-up to that in line 94?
I leave before 1.
Okay. I want to take you down to 97 on page 11. Was this an incoming message or outgoing message?
Incoming.
And what time was this message sent to you?
At 1. I mean, my bad. 12:09. My bad.
And what did Zion send to you at that point?
Like a FaceTime call, picture, screenshot.
A screenshot? Okay. And I'm holding what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 11. May I approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Is Proposed Exhibit 11, is that a copy of the screenshot that you received from Zion at 12:09 a.m.?
Yes.
And does that fairly and accurately depict what she texted you at that point?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that that's a screenshot from her phone? Is that correct? That she sent you? Do you know why she sent that?
She was sending it to me to show me like the FaceTime wasn't working, basically.
Okay, you were having problems connecting with her?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to admit Proposed Exhibit 11.
Okay. Okay, it's admitted.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, and so she sends this at 12:09. Are you familiar with iPhones and using FaceTime on an iPhone?
Yes.
And do you know whether Zion had an iPhone at the time?
Yes.
And when someone is in that sort of initial phase of the FaceTime call before the call connects, are you familiar with whether the image that appears on their phone is like inverted or not, or is it an actual? Would it be like a straight-on image?
It'd probably be inverted.
Okay, so kind of like a mirror image, so to speak. Okay. And you got this at 12:09 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes. My bad.
Okay, I want to take you down to message 108. It's on page 13. And was that a incoming message or an outgoing message?
Incoming.
And what time was that message sent?
At 12:59.
12:59 a.m. Okay. And what did Zion write to you at that time?
On my way home. OMW. On my way home.
Okay, so the OMW stands for on my way, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. After that message, did you ever hear from Zion Foster again?
No. No.
She never texted you? Did you try to reach out to her after that message?
Yes.
At what point did you start to become worried?
Probably like right after, probably like.
Okay. Let's go. Just want to ask about some of these. If you go down to message 112 at on page 13,
Mm-hmm.
and was that an outgoing or incoming message?
Outgoing.
And what time did you send that message to Zion?
121.
Is it 113? Is it 128?
Oh, my bad. 120. My bad. 120. Oh no, you said which
Oh,
one?
I'm sorry. I'm getting my numbers confused. Yeah, 120. You're right. 120. So it was 121.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you write to her at that time?
I said I'm pissed because you let your phone die.
And what was it that made you think her phone was dead at that point?
So when I tried to call it, it didn't ring.
Did it just go straight to voicemail?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go down to 114 and 115, what did you write at that point?
I said niggas trying to be cool. Your phone probably just dead.
And what did you mean by that? I guess when you said that to her.
I'm trying to be calm. Her phone probably just died.
Okay. And then you go down to 116, also 135. What did you write to her at that point?
You talking about that number 116?
Yeah, number
So
116.
just bring out the insecure side of me. Not gonna lie.
Okay. And what did you? I guess what did you mean when you wrote that?
I ain't know what was going on. I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on at this point. I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to make sure I ain't tweaking, like overruling, basically.
Okay. I'm gonna go down to number 126 on page 15. What time? What time was that message sent?
You said 126?
Yeah, 126.
151.
And what did you write at that point?
I said not trying to think negative.
And what did you follow that up with? The next couple of messages.
I said I really hope I'm tripping, bruh.
What was going through your mind at that point?
I don't know. Like I'm thinking of worse. Like whatever situation, I'm just thinking of worse, basically.
Okay. And if you go down to 130, on page 15, what time was that message sent?
You said 130?
Yeah.
And 155?
And what did you write at that point?
So I really hope you're not cheating on me, bro.
And was that a concern you had that was going through your head?
I don't know. I'm thinking of everything. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And down to 135 and 136. What time are these messages sent?
At 251.
And what's the content of those messages
I
at
said,
that
yeah,
point?
you cheating this up, honey.
So you have concerns that maybe she's with somebody else?
Yeah.
Anybody in particular?
No.
Okay. I want to go down to 142 and 143. What time were these messages sent?
You said 142 is at 306.
And what did you write to her at that point?
I said, really hope you safe. And I said, I love you forever.
And if you go down to 145, what time was that sent?
8:53. I mean, in the morning at 8:53.
Okay, so at some point did you go to bed that night? Did you go to sleep?
Yeah.
Okay. When you got up, you hadn't heard anything from Zion by that point?
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
Okay. And then when you texted her at 8:53, what did you write?
8:50. I said, is you alive?
And then what's the next message that you wrote?
I said, this the worst thing ever.
And when'd you write that?
At 9:04.
Now, I want to ask, when you were dating Zion, how much time would you say you guys spent together?
Probably like 3 times a week 'cause I had school. 3-4 times a week.
Okay. So you saw her pretty regularly, you'd say?
Mm-hmm.
Were you aware of her having any type of significant health issues?
Not nothing real crazy, but not nothing really crazy, no.
Okay. Did you ever like personally see her have something that looked like a health issue?
Yeah, I seen her she passed out before and just came back up. I thought it was like a seizure, basically.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what it was, but.
And when this happened, do you remember how many times you saw something like that happen?
About one time. That's about it. Probably about one.
Okay. And when that happened and you say she passed out and then came back up, can you describe what exactly you saw?
She probably like this. and then got back up. Basically.
And you're making a motion with your head, so your head just kind of go back.
Kind of, yeah, basically, yeah. Yes.
And did how long did this last? The time that you saw it happen?
Probably about a second, probably two, 3, about a second or two. I don't know, not that long.
Okay. Did you have like concerns enough to call an ambulance or anything like that?
No.
And you said you thought it was a seizure. What made you think it was a seizure?
I mean, because I don't know what it was. I just assumed that's what it was. Just off of seeing my Dukes having and stuff like that.
Okay. So
But she never, yeah.
have you, I guess, seen? Do you have any family members who have seizures?
Yes.
And have you ever seen any of those seizures like take place firsthand?
Yes.
And when you saw a family member have a seizure, did that look to you like what you saw Zion experience?
No.
Okay. Describe the difference.
Like, be foaming, I heard mom be foaming out her mouth and stuff. That's basically it. And she'd probably fall down. It'd be longer than that. She'd be shaking and stuff. So.
And that's your mom having a seizure?
Yes.
Okay. So when your mom has a seizure, you said you saw her foam out of the mouth and shake, and it would be longer, correct?
Yes.
When you saw Zion, you say pass out quickly this one time, you said it just lasted a couple of seconds. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was there any foaming in her mouth?
No.
Was there any type of shaking or body twitching?
No.
Did anything? Was anything else going on when this happened? From what you remember, was there like an argument or anything like that?
No.
Was there any substance use that was going on? Marijuana? Anything like that?
No.
Okay. After you lost contact with Zion, did you take some steps to try to locate her?
Yeah. Yes.
And can you sort of walk us through what's like the first thing that you did to try to locate Zion?
I called her. First, obviously, I looked at the location, and then I called her brother, see if she was at the house, because at this point, I was like, she probably just back at the house. And after that, I told him to go to her phone and look up her cousin's phone number. And
okay,
I
and at
called
some
her.
point, were you able to get Jaylin's number?
Yes.
Okay, and did you reach out to him?
Yes.
And did you end up having some communications back and forth with him?
Yes.
And were those communications over the phone?
The first time we talked on the phone, but then we started texting.
Okay. Do you remember what was said when you talked with him on the phone?
Not exactly, but
Okay.
you know.
Did you ask him whether he had seen Zion?
Yes. I mean, I asked him that when we first got on the phone, but I don't know if I said that in the message. I really don't remember.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. When you spoke with him on the phone.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Did you ask him whether he had seen Zion?
Yes.
And do you remember what he answered?
Yeah. He said like no. He was like he confused. Like what you talking about? He said.
Okay. Did you ask him whether he knew where she was?
Yes. I mean I believe so. I don't really remember.
Okay.
I know he was like confused. I wasn't like.
Objection to his interpretation of my client's state of mind. That's speculation.
But you said you also had some written communications with him over text message,
Yes.
and I'm holding what's been marked as proposed exhibit 12. I approach your Honor.
Yes.
And this is the document that I mistakenly gave you earlier. Does that look familiar to you?
Yes.
And does that appear to be a report of your communications with Jaylin Brazier after Zion Foster's disappearance?
Yes.
And would you say that report that's marked as Exhibit 12 fairly and accurately captures the communications that you had via text with Jaylin Brazier?
Yes.
I move to admit proposed Exhibit 12.
Any objection?
The only objection is whether or not this witness can actually authenticate who in fact he was speaking to and whether or not he had the right number. I believe he indicated he never really spoke to Mr. Brazier on the phone, so how would he know if he was texting this person and these text messages are who they purport to be?
What's I'll ask a clarifying question. What is the phone number that you were communicating with?
313-575-3450.
And I just want to briefly put up on the screen what's been admitted as Exhibit 2. Do you see that number up on the screen right now? Is that the same number you were communicating with?
Yes, 345. Yeah.
Okay, and to be clear, you you didn't know Jaylin Brazier like on a personal one-on-one level, is that correct?
No, I didn't know.
But you testified you were familiar with the sound of his voice, correct?
Yes.
And are you familiar with his appearance?
I mean, I seen like pictures of him through her.
Okay. And based on seeing pictures of him, did you develop a familiarity with his appearance?
Yes.
And based on your familiarity with his appearance, do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And just for the record, can you point to him and describe what he's wearing?
He right there with blue, with a green towel.
Okay. So if the record can reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant.
So reflective.
And when you had those communications that you were that are in your hand marked as proposed exhibit 12, you said that those came after a phone conversation. Is that correct?
Yes.
And who was that phone conversation with?
With Jaylin.
With the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. And then you followed that phone conversation up with written communications about the same subject. Is that correct?
Yes.
Namely, the location of Zion?
Yes.
And did you have an understanding that you were speaking with anyone other than the defendant?
I mean, you asking, do I for sure know it's him basically you have?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, yeah. It's,
who was your understanding you were speaking with or writing back and forth with? The defendant?
yes.
Okay. With that, I further renew my request to admit Exhibit 12.
Court discretion.
All right, is it, I think there's good proper foundation there.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, I want to start at the top. Okay, so these messages in green, who are the green messages attributed to?
Me.
You? Okay, so those are messages you're sending to him.
Yes.
And then who are the blue messages attributed to?
Him.
The defendant?
Yes.
Okay. And this very top message that you sent to him, what's the date and time of that message?
Oh, one on the 5th, January 5th at 12:04.
Okay. And what is it that you sent him? Obviously, there's a lot of it looks like a web address, but what was it you were trying to send him at that point?
The location.
The location that
Of her.
you had of Zion's phone?
Yes.
And that would be the 11:24 p.m. location?
I guess so. I mean, you don't show him here, so.
But was that location based on this screenshot that's
Oh, yes.
been admitted as Exhibit 10?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his response to receiving that location?
He said, "Hey, that's not my address, Greenfield. That's not my address, Greenfield, but it's basically around me."
Okay. And then I want to scroll down to page 2. The top message that he sent. What is it that he wrote to you?
He said, "Did her mom see her leave?"
And if you scroll down further down to page 3, what's the message that he wrote that's reflected on page 3?
That address, like down the street from me, bro, sound like she had something going on, or something.
Okay. And what day is that message sent?
On the 5th, January 1/5/22.
Okay. And then page 4. What's the message that he sent at the top of page 4?
You have her mama number basically. You probably meant to say.
Okay. And what did you respond to that?
I said, "Yeah, she about to call you."
And what was his response? After?
Text her. Oh my bad. Text her and ask what time she left.
And this is still January 5th at 12:09 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. I want to go down to the top of page 6. What's the message that he sent you at that point?
Yeah, she called me, bro. She said she didn't see what car she left in. Apparently, Zion stayed saying she'd be with me. That's cap.
Okay. And cap AF, what's that mean?
Cap his foot.
Okay. And what was your response to that? If you look at the next message.
I said, "L, it's whatever."
Okay, and then go down to the top of page 7. What's the message that he sent at that point?
When I was on the phone with her mom, she said Zion said she was leaving, but when she asked where she was, she turned her phone off.
And then how about at the bottom of page 7? What's the message that he sent there?
He said, "Hey, do y'all use air tags?" Oh, my bad, air tags, because that will give a much better location.
And then how about at the bottom of page 8? What message did he send there?
Any updates?
And this is again at what time?
1:31.
So he's asking you for updates,
Yes.
and your response.
And I said no.
And what did you send him after saying?
I said, hey bro, she over there and she just want to be left alone, tell her to let me know so I ain't got to be worried.
Okay. And let's go to page 10 at the top. What did he send at that point?
I said, bro, do you want a video chat? I'll walk through this whole motherfucking house and show you. My cameras, I'm dead tired of motherfuckers bothering me. I got 2 kids and one on the way. Ain't got time being a part of this. This girl motherfucking lies. Okay.
So he doesn't want to be part of Zion's lies, he says at this point.
Yeah, basically.
And this was sent when?
At 11:03.
And did you ever go to his house?
No.
Okay, I want to go to page. I want to go to page 15. You can go to the top of page 15. What did he send you at that point?
He sent me a video of him showing me his cameras.
Okay. And did you look at that video?
Yes.
And I'm holding what's been marked as proposed exhibit 13. It's a disc. Did we review this disc together before you testified?
Yes.
And does this disc contain that video that the defendant sent you?
Yes.
And is that in substantially the same condition it was when you initially received the video back on January 5th, 2022?
Yes.
I move to admit proposed 13.
Any objection?
No, just I guess a foundation of exactly how the prosecutor got this, or did he hand it over to police or such. Other than that, no.
Are you next one?
I mean, Judge, I think the foundation has been laid. When the forensic extraction person testifies, we can say anything up to your questions about
I
what
mean, certainly he testified that sort of his phone, he received it from Mr. Brazier, so that'll be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish it?
Yes.
And how I got working on recording is actually somebody at the door, and how I was announced. So, yeah, at 12 a.m., 12:36, and I was recording when I walked past, so it just but before they changed the recording before, it just was all.
And what was your understanding of the purpose of receiving this video from him?
He was trying to just prove him.
I think the judge is speculation. Please not speculate my client is trying to do.
Well, I think he's trying to, the question was, what was Mr. Gonzalez's understanding?
Right, and he's answering that my client was attempting to do something. So I think he's trying to speculate what my client was trying to do, even though that wasn't the question.
What I feel like basically, like that he was trying to.
When you got this, were you thinking, this is somebody showing me that Zion was at his house, or
Yes.
something else?
Yes, that's what I felt like.
That she was there or wasn't there?
That she wasn't there. I felt as if that he was trying to show me that she wasn't there.
Okay, and he was trying to be transparent about that, right? By
Yes.
showing you the videos.
Yes.
And the message immediately after that, what did he write at that point?
He said my cameras record when there's somebody at the door or the side of my house, by the way, so it shows when I left and got back.
And how long after the video being sent over was that message sent over?
He sent that at the same time.
Okay.
Oh no, that's when I read it. My bad. Oh my bad.
You
At
see
the
the-
same time, basically. Yes.
So both at 11:27 p.m.
Yes.
And then what was the next message they sent you?
It would be better to video record VC because that's when that's when it would be better quality video record, basically.
Yeah, I want to I want to scroll down to page 21. So, what's the message that you sent at the top of page 21?
Look at the direction on the picture she sent you. She sent you and look at mine.
Okay, and this discussion that you're having right now, are you referring to Exhibit 11, the screenshot that Zion had sent you that night?
Yes.
Okay, and why were you messaging the defendant about this specific screenshot?
Cause he, let me say this right. Cause he sent me this picture, or who I think it was him sent me this picture in his living room. He was trying to say that the picture was like flipped over or something. Yeah.
Okay, and you responded to that. If you look at the middle of page 21, what did you respond?
I said iPhone flips it, bro.
Okay, and what did he respond after you wrote that?
Oh well, you still see the big ass crack and all, in my whole camera feed. That girl was never here.
And what time did he send that?
11:44.
Okay, I want to go down to toward the middle of page 23. What message did he send at that point?
I'm not going to keep explaining the same things to y'all. I said it and showed everyone what they asked. I'm done. I'm going to bed.
And what did he write after that?
Shit ain't got shit to do with me.
And this is all still on the same day, January 5th, correct?
Yes.
And then I want to go down to the top of page 24. What did you write to him at that point?
I said, hey, can you send me the video from you going to pick up your girl that night?
And what's the date of this message?
1/11, January 11th.
So this is sometime after the last messages?
Yes.
Did you ever receive a response from him?
No.
Okay. Have you had any communication with him since then?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Not through text, man.
And when you were initially looking for the defendant's contact information, you mentioned getting it from a third party. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you also do you know whether Zion had an Instagram account?
Yes.
And did you have like a way to access that account?
Yes.
And did you do anything, I guess, inside of Zion's account to try to locate her?
Like log in? What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
I log in to see if she has some active messages going through other people.
Okay, and so if there were, I guess, messages in her account from January 5th, would those be messages attributed to you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Prosecutors.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
Doing good. Going back to the date of January 4th, 2022, it was your understanding that while Zion was at work, she indicated to you the worst headache ever, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when she told you that, it was your understanding that this was more than just a normal headache, but an extreme headache, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And while she was at work, you said that you were going to ping her location, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she disliked that. Matter of fact, she disliked the text when you said you're going to ping her at 10:25, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then she told you that she was going to get in trouble if you pinged her at work, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You looking at the paper, right? You got the paper?
I want you to go on your memory. It's on the paper, yes.
For sure. I'm just trying to make sure.
And if you scroll down to message number 30 on page 4. Could you read that?
I said, have I pinged you?
And could you read message 31?
No, I'm telling you, don't.
Okay, and that was from her, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you scroll to message 36? And could you read that message?
I literally said, it's no issue, just don't ping me.
Okay, who's that from?
Her.
And that's to you?
Yes.
Okay. So it'd be fair to say that you guys were going back and forth about her wanting you not to ping her at work, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you ping somebody, it's a way of getting their location, correct?
It's a way of, like, not getting their location, but, like, basically like pinging her phone. Basically, I ping your phone, you feel me? It's gonna alarm it, basically. So I'm not
Okay.
really getting help.
And she didn't want that to happen, correct?
Basically.
Okay, and she let you know very clear that in fact that she did not want that to happen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were somewhat insecure about your relationship with Zion, correct?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Okay, because she cheated on you before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And at times when you would call her at other times when she wouldn't answer the phone, you had some thoughts that she might be cheating on you, correct?
To a certain extent, yeah.
Okay. So you would frequently call her or text message her to see where she was at, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Zion also had a history of someone running away from home, correct?
Yes.
Okay, she did it on more than one occasion, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And at one occasion, she stayed away from her home for like a couple of months, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see her frequently during this time she was away from home?
I don't really remember.
Okay. She wasn't staying with you, correct?
No.
Okay. And during this time that she was away from home, you had some concerns that she might be cheating on you with somebody else, correct?
No.
You didn't?
No.
But you weren't with her though, right?
Yeah, I won't wear it.
Okay. Now, was this before or after she cheated on you?
It's before.
Okay. Now, you knew of Zion's history of seizures, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you knew, in fact, that she had seizures previously, correct?
Objection.
Yeah.
Foundation.
I was asking if you knew.
I mean-
Did you know previously she had seizures?
I probably heard of it, but I never seen anything.
Okay. Zion told you that she had a history of seizures, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay, so you knew when you saw her have a seizure that there were seizures that predated that particular experience, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because she told you, correct?
Yes.
And she also told you that she was taking medication for those seizures, correct?
Told me she was taking medication, but I don't know if it's for seizure. It was medication.
So you're saying that you didn't know that Zion did not tell you that she was taking medication for seizures?
Not that I remember right now off the dome.
You remember testifying at a preliminary examination?
Yes.
And you remember being asked, page 139, line 18. And you remember being asked, did you know that, what was your understanding, the reason why Zion was on prescription medication? And you indicated because she had seizures and stuff like that sometimes. Remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. So you knew that she was taking medication for seizures, correct?
I knew she was taking medication, but
But you testified at the preliminary examination that your understanding,
I'm pretty sure it was for that, yeah.
okay, but you testified to that, correct?
Yes.
Under oath, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you said it was the truth, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you actually witnessed a particular episode, correct?
Yes.
And she passed out, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you stated that you weren't all that concerned about it, correct?
Yes.
And the reason you weren't concerned is because she had told you she had a history of seizures. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And she also told you that when she didn't take her medication, she would have more seizures, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that she was on medication for depression? Did you?
No.
Okay. But you knew that Zion was battling depression, correct?
I really know.
Okay. You know that she told you she threatened to kill herself before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she would constantly be in a dark place, correct?
Not constantly, but
From time to time.
yeah.
Okay.
Like-
And when you met her, she was in this dark place, correct?
To a certain extent.
Did you, when she threatened to kill herself, did you contact the police?
No.
Did you contact her mother?
I don't remember.
Have you seen Zion take any kind of medication?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Had you seen her take any pills?
No.
Okay. But you knew she smoked marijuana, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know where she got her marijuana from?
Not particularly from just one of her friends.
One of her friends?
Yes. I didn't know him, but
You didn't? It was a guy?
yes.
Okay. Did you know if this particular guy put anything in the marijuana that he gave to Zion?
He did.
How do you know this?
Because I done smoked it with her before.
Oh, you didn't smoke it with her before?
Yes.
Okay. Were you with her every time she got marijuana from this guy?
Most of the time.
Most of the time?
Yeah.
Who would facilitate it? You or her?
Sometimes I come up with her. You know, sometimes she just go handle it.
I'm sorry. repeat that?
Sometimes I might go up there with her. You feel me? You talking about to go get it from him?
Yes.
Sometimes I might go get it. Sometimes you feel me, we do it together. You feel me? It just depends.
Okay. And every time she had marijuana, would she tell you who she got it from? Or did you just assume she got it from him?
I mean, I usually ask, like, you feel me? Who you about to? No. So yes.
Okay. If she was smoking by herself or away from you, then you would just ask where you get it from?
Yes.
How would you know that she was smoking if she's at home?
I'll be on the phone, FaceTime.
Okay. And then she would tell you it was this particular person?
Yes.
Okay. Didn't you question her before whether or not she was on other drugs such as LSD or mushrooms?
Yes.
And there was a reason why you asked her that, correct?
No.
Oh, you just asked her just because?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you spoke to Zion on this day that she was at work with the headache, you indicated that she sounded different, correct? She sounded real tired, didn't she?
She didn't sound tired. You asking like when did you basically asking when did she start sounding tired? She didn't sound tired till later on in the day.
But later on, when you spoke to her, after she said she was going to smoke, or after you knew she had smoked,
Yeah.
she said she sounded very tired,
Yeah,
correct?
after the time she said in the messages, I'm about to smoke again. That's when she started. After that, she started sounding a little tired.
Sounding tired?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is differently than she normally sounds, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When she said she had the worst headache in the world, were you concerned?
No.
You weren't?
No.
Okay. But even though you thought in your mind that meant that that headache was more severe than a headache that she normally would have, correct?
Not really. I'm just I got a bad headache. Like right now, I got a bad headache. You feel me? But not nothing like crazy. Cause she probably should have
Okay.
called the police. I mean, the ambulance.
Okay. But just having a bad headache is one thing. But if somebody says they have the worst headache ever, wouldn't that preface that this is worse than any other headache?
Yes.
Okay. And you understood that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't think to follow up with a message, are you okay? Do you want me to call somebody?
No.
I'm sorry, did you say yes or no?
I said no.
Okay. Now, you indicated, well, you started to indicate where you allegedly got Jaylin's number from. You stated that you got it from her brother?
Yes.
Okay. Now, isn't it true that you spoke to the police
Yes.
about this incident? And they wrote out a statement of what you told the police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at that end of that statement, you signed that statement, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you signed that statement, it was your acknowledgement to the police that all the contents in that particular statement were as true and accurate to the best of your memory, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, isn't it true that you told the police on January 20th, 2022, that you got Jaylin's number from Zion's friend Alima?
Please, huh? I don't really remember.
Okay. With looking at your statement, refresh your memory.
Got to pull it up or something?
With looking at your statement, refresh your memory, yes or no?
Oh yes.
You know what I mean, approach? Look over there and acknowledge it.
Okay.
Are you finished? You want me to approach?
Sure.
Oh, you know, I supposed to read this too? My bad. I didn't read it back. Okay, that's right. Okay.
Now, Mr. Gonzalez, isn't it true that you told the police that, in fact, you received this alleged number from Alima?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were asked the same question at the preliminary examination, correct?
Yes. I
Okay.
believe so.
And at no point in time, and you were presented this very same statement at the preliminary examination, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. At no point in time did you ever contact the police to supplement this report to indicate that, hey, this information is incorrect, correct?
No.
Because this, on January 20th, was closer to the time of this incident than today is, correct?
Correct.
And January 20th of 2022 is closer in time than the time you had the preliminary examination, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be fair that your memory would have been better at the time of taking this statement than it is today, correct?
Yes.
And also your memory would have been better at the time of taking the statement than it was at the preliminary examination, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is it or is it not true that, who did you get the statement? Who did you get the number from?
I mean, I thought I got it from my brother, but I guess Alima.
Okay. So it'd be fair to say that you were not familiar with this particular telephone number, correct?
No.
You've never dialed the number before, right?
No.
You've never spoken to Jaylin prior to the time that you alleged that or assumed that you spoke to him, correct?
No, I never spoke to him.
And you stated that you recognized a voice from the background. How many different times have you thought you heard his voice in the background while speaking to Zion?
Probably about 5, 6, 7 times.
5 or 6, 7 times? Okay. And none of these 5 or 6 or 7 times did this person you assume to be Jaylin get on the phone and say hi or speak to you or exchange words?
I don't
right?
believe so, no.
Okay. And you were speaking with Zion while you heard this voice in the background?
No, I probably was just sitting on the phone and she was talking to him. Basically, yeah.
Probably. I mean, are you guessing? I don't want you to guess. I want you to go in your memory.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that.
I was just sitting on the phone and she was talking, having a conversation with him.
And how long did this conversation last for?
I don't know how many times, I don't know how long they all lasted for, you feel me? But however long they was talking, I don't know.
Okay. And could you gauge how far away from the phone this particular individual might have been, if you had to guess?
Probably about, this is between y'all right now, probably like, on the phone, you feel me? Like right there, probably not that far.
Was it other things that you heard in the background, such as maybe the TV, radio?
No.
Now, from your understanding, how long did Zion have had seizures?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, but you just knew it was a history of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that she was taking medication for it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you saw her have the seizure on this one particular incident, did she take anything afterwards?
No.
Did she mention like, hey, I need my medication?
No.
Okay. Did you give her a glass of water or anything?
I really don't remember. I probably did.
Probably you don't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. Was this one of the times that you and her were smoking?
No.
Okay. So you guys were what were you doing when this incident happened?
Probably watching a movie or something.
Probably.
Watching a movie. I'm just gonna say watching.
Okay. And where were you at, location-wise?
It was at her friend's house, Alima's house. She was staying with at the time.
Okay. Were you aware that Zion possibly was molested? She disclosed that to you?
No.
She never disclosed that to you? Did you ever inquire on why she possibly wanted to kill herself? Did you ever ask?
I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know. Or no, I don't remember. So
You don't remember?
no.
Okay. Did it concern you when she expressed that she wanted to kill herself?
Yes.
Okay, but you don't remember whether or not you asked why though, right?
I mean, cause you feel me, just teenagers. You feel me, just sad over like just regular life stuff. Feel me?
So to you, that's normal behavior. Somebody threatening to kill himself.
I mean, people just be talking.
I'm not talking about people. To you, is that normal behavior?
I've said it before, so yes, no. I mean, I guess teenagers would be saying stuff like that. So, feel me?
But you knew she was in a dark place, though, right? At times.
I guess so. Yes.
I want you to guess. These are your words. You said she was in a dark place before, correct?
Yes.
And she was in a dark place when you met her, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever follow up and try to inquire on why she was in this dark place?
I don't remember.
How long have you been dating prior to her expressing to you that she wanted to kill herself?
I don't remember.
Was it the first week? Was it a couple months? If you had to estimate.
I don't remember. Around that, I don't remember. So.
She said she was going to take some pills to kill herself?
No.
She didn't? Or you don't remember?
She never said nothing about taking no pills.
Okay. How did she say she was going to kill herself?
She never disclosed that to me, but she never said she was gonna kill herself. I mean, she never. My bad. She never said how she was gonna kill herself.
Okay. Did you think it was of a concern when she said that?
What you mean?
Did you think there was an issue?
Objection asked and answered. I think this is the fifth time that
He
question.
said that like 4 or 5 times, bro.
Okay.
I'll move on. Now, the day that she, the last time you spoke to Zion, you said that you heard the voice when she was getting into the car?
Yes.
Okay.
She was in
Do you know where she was getting into the car from?
her mom's house.
Her mom's house? Okay. So you were actually talking to her on the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
As she was getting into the car and sat down.
And you stated that you submitted all your phone records to the police, correct?
Yes.
And the question was asked of you whether or not you were happy about Zion going over to Jaylin's house. You weren't upset about it, were you?
No.
Okay. As a matter of fact, in your text message to her, you told her, "I want you to chill with him." Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It was your understanding that that was her favorite cousin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you took a screenshot of her location. Did you always do that?
No.
How frequently do you take a screenshot of her location?
Never.
Never?
Yeah.
Okay. You just did it this one time?
Yes.
Okay. You thought she was possibly cheating on you?
I don't know what. Yes. Probably. Trying to make sure she's straight. I just be,
You just be worrying about her sometimes?
Yeah, just be worried.
Okay.
Make sure
But
she's safe.
She goes to different places that's not in your company at times, correct?
No.
She never goes anywhere without you?
I mean, she don't never leave the house, like her own house. She don't never go nowhere. She usually be at the house with her mom's.
Okay. Sometimes she goes to her friend's house, Alima's house, correct?
I don't believe that she went over there, like when she was at her mom's house that last couple months, but I don't remember.
And you want to make a review approach?
Sure.
Now, were you aware that at times Zion would leave with other people, other guys? You were not aware of that?
Sometimes she hang with her friends, like dude friends, but I'd be cool with that. Like I know.
Okay. So you admit that there are times that she leaves that you're not there, correct?
You saying like when she was at her mom? I don't just listen. You saying when she was
Yes
at
or no?
her Duke's house, her mom's house, like last few months?
I'm speaking anytime.
She has went out with people before.
Okay. And during those times, do you screenshot or ping her location or track her location?
No. I look at it to see where she at. I don't take a screenshot.
You don't take a screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Big reader?
Mr. Gonzalez, there was a mention of something about Zion saying she wanted to kill herself. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say you've heard other people make statements like that? I want to kill myself.
Yes.
Did you view this as like some sort of genuine desire that she was about to act on, or just an offhand statement?
It's offhand statement.
Okay. The issue about seizures. Do you know for sure whether Zion was on any type of medications?
I'm not for sure.
Okay. Do you know for sure what type of medication she was on?
No.
Do you know for sure that she had a history of seizures?
She said it to me, but I've never seen her before.
Okay. You just saw this one instance where you said passed out for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Right. And what is it that led you to conclude that was a seizure?
Because she had discussed that with me before.
Okay. And in the course of your interactions with Zion, did she ever fib about anything?
Yes.
Okay. How frequently?
Frequent.
Frequently?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Nothing further.
Any recross?
It was your understanding that she was taking medication for seizures, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and that was based upon the conversation you had with her, correct?
What I remember. So I believe so. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. But you did testify at the preliminary examination that it was your understanding that she was taking medication for her seizures, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Further question.
Any questions from the jury? Exhibit Zion complained of headache via text. Did she complain of headaches often?
No, not really. I mean, not that I remember. I'm not saying I don't remember.
Did she have one before she passed out?
Like, did she discuss that on the phone, basically? Like, did she have a
If you
headache?
know, did she
I
have
don't
a headache
remember.
before she passed out?
I don't remember. Oh, you talking about when she had the seizure? You talking
Yeah.
about? I don't remember.
Okay. Did she say she did LSD or mushrooms when asked?
I asked her, have she done something like that? She said no. She said she would never do that.
Was there any involuntary movement, incontinence? Was she immediately back to baseline after passing out?
I think she was like, she got back to regular, obviously, you know, she was woke back up, so she was just like chill for a little second, but then she got back to regular, basically.
Was she disoriented?
No.
Did you and Zion go to the same school? Were you in the same grade?
We was in the same grade, but not the same school.
Okay. Any follow-up questions based on those?
None from the people now.
Just a couple brief questions. So you stated that you asked her about if she took LSD or mushrooms, correct?
Yes.
So you said she said no, right?
Yeah.
You also indicated that she had a history of quote-unquote fibbing a lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you asked her if she took LSD for a reason, didn't you?
Not for a reason.
You
No.
just asked her just because?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when asked about the question about whether or not she was disoriented, if you made some type of gesture, like if she was chill from, like you kind of moved your head a little bit, like.
I had to think about the question.
Okay. So she was disorientated for maybe a second or two from your memory, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. First question.
All right, sir, thank you. You can step down. You would please state your name and spell it.
My name is Katrina Smith, Katrina Smith.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Smith, do you know Jaylin Brazier?
Yes,
And how long have you known him?
for 7 years.
And what's the nature of your relationship with him historically over those 7 years?
We worked together
How long were you together?
for 7 years.
Okay. Are you still together?
No,
Okay. Do you have children together?
yes,
How many children?
3,
And how old are your children?
4, 3, and 1.
Okay. And just for the record, do you see Mr. Brazier in court today?
Yes,
And could you just point to him and describe what he's wearing?
he's wearing a blue tux with a green shirt.
The record could reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant.
So reflect that.
And Ms. Smith, is it fair to say we've had a couple of conversations over the past week together?
Yes,
And during those conversations, is it true that I've assured you that you're not someone that's being investigated or under threat of prosecution in this case? Would that be fair to say?
yes,
Okay. And you understand, though, that you are under oath today and have to tell the truth. Is that
Yes.
correct? Did you know Zion Foster?
no, not personally.
Did you have any sort of familiarity with her?
No,
Okay. Had you seen her before?
I've seen her before through a family event.
Okay. Do you know to what extent back in 2001 and 2002 that Mr. Brazier had any sort of relationship with Zion Foster?
Oh yeah, he's her cousin.
Okay. Do you know how much they hung out?
No, I know that they communicated through phone, but I've never seen them communicate like in person, like seen them hang out with each other in person.
Okay. And back in January of 2022, where did you live at that time?
I lived on the house that's on Greenfield Road.
Greenfield? Okay. And who lived there with you at that time?
Me, Jaylin, and my 3, well, currently, at the time we were our 2 children.
Okay. And what type of What type of residence was that? Was it like
It was like a duplex.
a duplex? Did anyone live next door at the time?
Yes.
Okay. I want to take you back to January 4th and 5th, 2022. Did you work at around that time?
Yes.
And where did you work?
It was a factory called Dakota Integrated Systems
And where was that factory located?
in Hazel Park.
Okay. And did you work a particular shift at around that time?
Midnight shift.
Midnights. Okay. What were your hours like then? Did you start?
It was 11 to 6 a.m.
Okay. And if while you were away at work, Zion had come over to your house, would that have been strange or out of the ordinary?
Yes.
Would that have surprised you?
Yes.
Back on January 4th of 2022, did you go to work that night?
Yes.
And do you have some memory of that night?
Yes.
How did you get to work that night?
Jaylin drove me.
He drove you? Okay.
Yes.
And how were you feeling that night? Was anything going on out of the ordinary for you?
I was feeling very nauseous, having really intense nauseous. I was having heat flashes, couldn't really stand up. So I tried to see if I could stay at my job for a long time because at the time I was the only one working. So, yeah, I was feeling really, really sick.
Okay. At some point, did you end up going home that night?
Yes.
Did you go home a little bit early?
Yes.
And how did you get home?
Jaylin picked me up.
Okay. And and like not to pry, but was anything like going on medically with you at that time?
I was pregnant. That's when we found out I was pregnant with my third child.
Okay. And I want to show you what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 39. I'm sorry, 37. Can I approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Ms. Smith, I'm handing you what's been marked as Proposed Exhibit 37, and I want to ask you about that document. Did you exchange some text messages with Mr. Brazier on January 4th and January 5th of 2022?
Yes.
At some point, did you give your cell phone over to the Detroit police briefly and then get it back from them?
Yes.
And was it your understanding that the phone was going to be sort of forensically extracted?
Yes.
And that document that you're holding, marked as Proposed Exhibit 37 rather, does that contain copies of your text messages with the defendant from that January 4th and January 5th of 2022 timeframe?
Yes.
And do those appear to be fair and accurate depictions of the messages that you exchanged with him at around that time?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit Proposed Exhibit 37.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you. May I publish?
Yes.
And Ms. Smith, I'm just going to ask you some questions about a handful of these messages. Let's see. And just so we can orient ourselves, the messages in blue, who are those messages like attributed to?
Jaylin.
Okay, and what's the number that he was using at that time?
313-575-3450.
Okay, and then if we go down to like the messages in green, who are those messages attributed to at that time?
Me.
Okay, and then I want to kind of scroll down. If you go down to page 7, at the very top of that page, there's a message that appears that you sent to Mr. Brazier. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what would be the time and date of that particular message?
January 4th, 2022 at 1:05 a.m.
Okay, and there's some discussion about you being pregnant at the time.
Yes.
And so it'd be fair to say that the two of you were aware that you were pregnant by this point on January 4th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay. I want to go down to. Let me just ask this: in terms of your communications with Mr. Brazier that night, was there any mention of Zion?
No.
So there's no mention that she was going to be over the house that night?
No.
Okay. And I want to ask, if you can go down to page 18. You see the message at the bottom there?
Yes.
And what's the time and date of that message?
January 4th, 2022, 10:43 p.m.
And what did Mr. Brazier text you at that point?
Home.
And what did you take that to mean?
That he made it home after he dropped me off at the emergency room.
At the emergency, would this be? And let's keep the date in mind, because I think you testified that you were going to work this particular night.
Yeah, I was, but I also called off to let them know that I wasn't feeling well. So I had to go to the emergency room to see what's wrong with me because I didn't understand why I was experiencing like intense like nausea. I couldn't eat nothing, I couldn't drink water, and I kept throwing up clear fluid. So that's why I went to the emergency room.
Okay, but I guess what I'm asking, did you go to the ER the night before, sort of? Was there
Before I went to work.
Okay, the night before, and then you get home, and then you go to work the following night. Is it? I just want to make sure we have our dates right here.
I believe so. Yes. Yes, I did.
Okay. And so this message where Mr. Brazier says home, it's January 4th at 10:43 p.m.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I want to go back to the other message we talked about up on page 7. Okay.
Page 7.
Up at the top of page 7, where there was the discussion about you being pregnant. And it appears that that's January 4th at 1:05 a.m. So earlier, correct?
Yes.
And just to be clear, would that have been when you were at the emergency room?
Yes.
Okay, and so you come back from the emergency room, and then by 10 p.m. that same day on January 4th, is that when you're going to work,
Yes.
right? Okay. And so when the defendant texted you home at 10:43 p.m. on January 4th,
He was letting me know that he went home.
after dropping you off from work?
Yes.
Okay. And just going to the next page. Down at the bottom of page 19, there's a message. What time was that message sent?
11:30 p.m.
And what did that message read?
How are you feeling? And no problem.
And what was your response to that message?
Sick and I can't breathe with this mask on.
Okay. And then I want to scroll down to page 21 at the top. What did you message him at that point?
I'm really getting tired of feeling like this.
And what was his response?
I know, baby. It's just baby Ava testing your patience.
And was that just a reference to the fact that you were pregnant at the time?
Yes.
Okay. We scroll down to page 22 toward the middle. There's a message that you sent. What did you write at that time?
I want to come home and lay down.
And what time was that sent?
11:46 p.m.
And what was the response to that?
I bet, baby.
And then the next message down at the bottom of page 22, what did you write at that point?
How are you feeling?
And at the top of page 23, what did you write?
I don't know why my messages are not sending.
Was there any issue going on with your phone from what you remember?
There was like a little delay. Like my messages wasn't going through.
Okay. Did they ultimately go through though?
Yes.
Okay. And then what response did you get after that?
Tired, probably going to smoke a little and go to sleep.
And what time was that sent to you?
12:04 a.m.
Okay, and I want to scroll down to page 25. Toward the middle, there's a message at 12:23 a.m. What does that message say?
The third one.
The second one down. Sorry.
I don't feel good.
And what was the next message that you sent?
So how's your high?
And what was the response that you received?
Relaxing AF. Actually fell asleep.
And what does AF indicate?
As fuck.
Okay. And that message was sent at what time?
12:36 a.m.
Okay. And I want to go down to 1:25 a.m. on page 26. Did you send a message at that time?
Oh, that's good. I'll leave you to it. LOL.
What about the next one under that?
I think I need to come home.
And what time did you send that message?
1:25 a.m.
And did you send a message right after that?
Yes.
And what did you write?
I don't feel good.
And what time was that message sent?
1:26 a.m.
And what response did you receive?
You can make it, baby.
And what time was that sent?
1:28 a.m.
And was there a follow-up? If you go to the next page, what was the next message that was sent to you?
But what do you mean?
And that was sent also at 1:28 a.m.?
Yes.
And what did you write at that point?
My stomach hurts and I feel sick and I keep getting hot and cold.
And what time did you write that?
1:32 a.m.
And what's the next message?
Okay, baby, do you want me to come now?
And when was that response received?
2:12 a.m.
So that would be about 40 minutes after
Yes.
your last message?
Yes.
And what was the next message after you wrote, okay, baby, do you want me to come now?
I'll hop in the shower to kick this high off.
And what time was that sent?
2:12 a.m.
Then if you go to the next page, looks like there's some more discussion about him possibly coming to get you. Is that fair to say?
I would let him know if I want to come home after my break.
Okay. And his response was what?
Okay, well, I'm up, so just call me.
And that was sent at what time?
2:20 a.m.
Okay. And if you go down to page 29, the first blue message, what does that read?
Nyla scratched my neck.
And what time was that sent?
2:21 a.m.
And what does the word Nyla refer to?
My black cat that I had at the time.
Okay. And what was your response to receiving that message?
What do you mean? She was walking over you?
And what response did you receive after that?
I was trying to tickle her stomach and she beat my ass.
And what time was that message sent?
2:25 a.m.
I want to scroll down at page 32, toward the middle. You see the blue message?
Yes.
And what does that message read?
I'm on my way now, okay?
And what time was that sent?
2:37 a.m.
And at some point after that, did he come to pick you up?
Yes.
And did he bring you back to your house together?
Yes.
That night, did you happen to see whether there was a scratch on it?
After we came home and we went to go take a shower, I did see a scratch right here.
When you say right here, can you just describe where it was?
Right here. It was like a scratch
Like on
right
the
here.
collarbone area?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe what the scratch was like?
It was a big scratch right here.
Okay. Was there blood?
Yes.
Was it, I guess, would it have been out of the ordinary all for Nyla to scratch in that way?
Yes, because she never scratched that deep before to draw that much blood.
Okay. That night when you were interacting with Mr. Brazier, did he seem normal to you?
Yes.
Did he seem like he was in any state of panic?
No.
At some point, did Mr. Brazier end up in prison for a brief period of time?
Yes.
And when he was in prison, did you have some communications with him?
Yes.
And were some of those communications like recorded sort of phone calls through the prison phone system?
Yes.
And did you have a way to send and receive text messages with him?
Yes.
And let me ask, was that sort of a authorized way of sending text messages to and from him?
Not really.
Okay. And I guess, can you elaborate on that if you can?
He texted me off a different phone.
Okay. And was it your understanding that he had a phone in his cell
Yes.
that he probably shouldn't have had under like prison regulations, right?
Yes.
I'm holding what's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 71. May I approach?
Yes.
Ms. Smith, does Proposed Exhibit 71 contain copies of some of the messages that you exchanged with Mr. Brazier when he was in prison?
Yes.
And I showed you sort of a lengthier version of that had like 250 pages, is that correct?
Yes.
And a lot of those messages are just kind of private communications between the two of you that have nothing to do with this case, would that be correct?
Yes.
But does this contain some messages about the investigation.
Yes.
And does this document that's been marked as proposed exhibit 71 fairly inaccurately depict the messages that you exchanged with Mr. Brazier?
Yes.
And when you were exchanging these messages, I mean, who was your understanding you were messaging back and forth with?
Him. Jaylin.
Your Honor, I'd ask you to admit proposed exhibit 71.
Any objection?
I think it's a better foundation possibly on how she knew that this was Jaylin. She just assumed that she was texting Jaylin on his phone.
Ask one or two follow-up questions.
Yeah, Ms. Smith, in this, if we were to look at like the full string of messages that I sent you, would we see photos of him sending photos of himself to you?
Yes.
And so you received those photos from the specific phone number that's referenced here, is that correct?
Yes.
And it's a 313, is it 925?
925-615.
Okay, and that's the number that you communicated with, the understanding that you were communicating with the defendant?
Yes.
And at some point during the course of exchanging these messages, did you also actually have like voice calls with that specific number?
Yes.
And when you had those voice calls, who was it that you were speaking with?
Jaylin.
Okay. And some of those voice calls, is it fair to say they were contemporaneous with these messages?
Yes.
So maybe you were on the phone and he's actually texting you while you're on the phone together?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I move to admit, Your Honor.
All right. Anybody?
And may I publish?
Yes. This is Exhibit 71.
Yes, Your Honor. And in terms of some of these messages, I just want to ask a couple of questions about them. We go down to, if we go down to page, I guess it's marked as page 8, but it's the second page in the exhibit that you have. Do you see the photo in that message?
Yes.
And who's in that photo?
Jaylin.
Okay. And again, the blue messages are his messages, correct?
Yes.
And the green messages are yours?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you about page 103. It'd be the very next page in the report that you have. Do you see this second message from the top? It's like a Google URL.
Yes.
Did I guess, do you know what's in that specific web link?
I believe it was a video of the landfill search.
Like a news report about the landfill search?
Yes.
Okay. And so was that something, when was this message sent?
Is she speculating or does she know? She said she believed, I'm not sure.
Okay. Was that something that you know, or are you just guessing?
I know that he sent me a landfill search.
Okay, and was that like a video of a news report about the landfill search?
Yes.
And that'd be a landfill search for science body?
Yes.
And when was this message sent, if you can just read the date?
September 20th, 2022.
And at the time that message was sent, were you kind of following the news reports about this case?
No.
Okay. Is it something you wanted to tune out, I assume? And I want to go down to, it's going to be 206 in your packet. The very bottom message, the green one, is this a message that you sent to the defendant?
Yes.
And what is it that you wrote at that point?
Man, baby, I can't believe I missed my niece's birthday. My first niece I took care of was there. I haven't seen her in so long. I just seen a recent picture of her, and I cried, laughing my ass off.
And when was this sent? I'm sorry, this message sent, Ms. Smith?
I believe October 1st, 2022.
Okay, and then just going down to the very next message on the next page. Can you read what you wrote at that point?
But there's a new detective looking into your case, and they called your auntie Sheila asking to talk to your cousin Elijah, asking your auntie to see if he could go through them so they can talk to him about the case and what he knows.
Okay, and so at this time, was there something that happened that I guess prompted you to send this to him?
Yes, his mom told me
That's
to.
objection to whatever his mother said. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess without getting into anything that someone else specifically said, because that's hearsay and we can't get into it, but like, did you become aware of steps being taken in the investigation that prompted you to reach out to Mr. Brazier at this time?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to scroll down. Is it would it be fair to say that at this time you and Mr. Brazier had some discussions about sort of the status of the investigation?
Your Honor, I'd object to one of these text messages that contains hearsay that's being listed on the screen at the right now. So, that's it.
Well, none of this is, I guess, other than the defendant's messages are offered for the truth of the matter asserted, but if there's any redactions that Mr. Brown wishes to make, I mean, we've obviously had these exhibits for a while, but I'm happy to redact anything that's inadmissible. I don't think anything is admissible here. But let me just say, suffice it to say, at around this time, were you having sort of discussions with Mr. Brazier about the status of the investigation?
Yes.
Okay. During those discussions, did Mr. Brazier ever express to you that he hoped that Zion's body would be found?
He never brought her up.
Okay.
He never talked about her.
Did you ever try to talk to him about what happened with Zion?
I did ask him, but he never told me anything.
Okay. I want to scroll down. I wanted to scroll down to like page 211. You see, there's like a series of like messages from the defendant. Is that correct?
You said 211?
Yeah.
Yes.
And are you guys having like a voice call while these messages are being exchanged?
Yes.
Okay. And so part of what he's saying to you, he's not saying out loud, but he's saying in these messages when you're talking to him directly, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that kind of goes on for a number of pages. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
I want to go down to page 220 at the top. When was this message sent? What's the time and date on it?
October 22nd, 2022. I mean, October 2nd, 2022.
And what's the sort of like body of this message? Is this another website link?
Yes.
And do you see in the web address after it says search? It says
Yes.
google.com/search. What are the words that appear after the search?
With no evidence or confession of murder, can one still be charged with murder?
Okay. And then what's the very next message that was sent?
My bad. Was studying.
And that was sent at around the same time?
Yes.
And if you go down to page 224 toward the bottom. What time was that message sent?
5:10 p.m.
And what was the date of that message?
October 2nd, 2022.
And again, is that another website link?
Yes.
And do you remember, did you visit that webpage?
Yes.
And is there like a specific article that appears on that webpage?
Yes.
And can you read just after where it says Quora.com? What are the words that appear after that?
If I'm a suspect in a murder, but a body is never found, can I be charged?
And if you go to the next message, what's the next message say?
I know, baby. It's okay. I plan out every step, so relax. And the attachment I just sent is the main one.
And how long was that sent after the sort of link about the article was sent?
5:11 p.m.
And the link was sent at what time?
5:11 p.m.
If you look at the link at on page 224 at the bottom.
Did any of these communications try to solicit information from you?
No, they just asked who was I? I
Okay.
just never responded.
You never responded?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did they ever ask you for any pictures of yourself?
No.
Jaylin never expressed to you that he did not want Zion's body to be found, did he?
No, he never said anything like that.
Have you known Jaylin to be violent?
Towards me.
Judge, objection can be approached.
Sure.
Thank you. No further questions.
Open the reader.
Just briefly, Ms. Smith, in terms of the alleged child abuse issue that you mentioned, that was something that came up last summer before you testified at the preliminary examination. Is that
Yes,
correct?
this was after I had got subpoenaed.
After you got subpoenaed for the exam, right?
Yes.
And the exam was in August of 2023.
Yes.
And that, just to be clear, like you still have your kids, right?
Yes, I do.
And that didn't arise again in connection with you being subpoenaed for this particular trial date, correct? But you were briefly held in custody overnight and then released on a personal bond with sort of the assurance that you would appear in court, right?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Okay. You know,
Just briefly, and with those allegations, do you know, if you know, what detective made these allegations against you?
It was a child abuse detective. Her name was Miss Brown.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No further questions.
any questions from the jury? Please raise your hand and fill out the. Was Mr. Brazier wearing the same clothes when he picked you up as when he dropped you off?
I don't remember what he was wearing. I wasn't paying attention to what he was wearing.
Okay. Why didn't you want to testify?
Safety reasons. Just since this whole thing started, I've been paranoid. I don't know if who's following me, who knows my face, who knows my car. After they threatened, or whoever threatened, I don't feel safe. I haven't been safe. I haven't been feeling safe at all. I don't want to test. I didn't want to testify.
Any follow-up questions based on that?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No further questions. All right. Jenny, you step down. Did you also look very next witness?
Yes, at this time, the people called David McGee.
Please stop talking until it's resolved. Please keep your voice up, and please state your name and spell.
David McGee. DAVIDMAGEE.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, sir. Do you know Jaylin Brazier?
Yes.
Your brother?
Yes.
And do you know? Did you know of Zion Foster?
Yes.
And what was her sort of relationship in the family?
She was my cousin through marriage.
And how well did you know Miss Foster, if at all?
I ain't know her. I knew her, but I ain't seen her in a while. But I knew her when she was a little younger because we all stayed together in the same house.
Okay. And did you know anything about Miss Foster's relationship with Mr. Brazier?
No, I didn't even know they knew each other.
Okay. At some point, did you become aware of Miss Foster's reported disappearance back in January of 2022?
Yeah, I just seen on Facebook articles and stuff like that.
And at some point during that time, did you have some interaction with Mr. Brazier?
Other than only the time was when I don't come to my house for that night.
Okay, and so he came to your house for a night?
Yes.
And that was at some point in January?
I'm not sure of the date. Not sure of the date.
But after Miss Foster disappeared?
I don't know if it was directly when she disappeared or not, but it was sometime around.
Okay. Did you ask him about Miss Foster's disappearance?
No, I just asked him, have you seen her?
And what was his response?
Yeah, he told me he hadn't seen her.
He said he hadn't seen her.
Yes.
And At any other point, did you get a different response when you asked that same question?
I never asked the question again.
Did he ever? Do you remember telling the police something about him at one point telling you that she was there?
Yes, eventually he told me that she was there. That she was at his house. Yes.
Okay, and did he say anything about what she was doing at the house?
No, not at all.
Okay. Did he say that she was there briefly and then left? Is that fair to say?
No, he just told me that she was there. That's all.
Okay. And did he didn't say anything about what happened?
No.
Thanks, son.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. You stated that you and Zion stayed in the same house at one point in time?
Yes, that was years ago.
Okay, who else stayed in the house with you at that time?
Me, my cousin Anthony, Sierra, Zion, my auntie Sheila, my cousin Elijah, and I believe they had her other daughter they had chosen.
Okay. Did there come a time wherein you were requested by your mother, Jaylin's mother, for Jaylin to come over to your house?
Yes, my mom, the one that asked me, can they come stay a couple nights?
Okay, and your understanding was for safety reasons, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because they were feeling unsafe because they were being threatened, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you obliged, correct?
Huh?
And you said yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you personally receive any threats?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. There's no further questions.
You married?
No.
Any questions from the jury? Okay, so that's where you can step down.
Your Honor, this individual called Caden Sands.
Please state your name and spell.
Caden Sands, Cadansands.
Thank you. Sir, what do you currently do for a living?
Currently, I'm employed by Shelby Township Fire Department.
And before you became a fireman, what did you do for a living?
I worked for Detroit Police Department.
And how long were you with the Detroit Police Department?
Just over 2.5 years.
And what was your role when you were with the Detroit Police Department?
I was a patrol officer in the 12th Precinct.
Okay. And as part of your role as a patrol officer, were you in that role back in January of 2022?
Correct.
And at that time, on January 6th of 2022, did you make a police run to the location of 19451 Greenfield Road in Detroit?
Yes, I believe it came out to a different address at first, but the police run led us to there.
Okay, and was the other address a hotel?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of bringing you to that hotel?
Somebody called saying it was a missing person run.
And you had a tip? Is that,
yes,
I guess, fair to
correct.
say you investigated the tip?
Yep.
Did you find anything relevant?
Nope, nothing at the motel that we found.
And then after leaving the hotel, did you go to this Greenfield address?
Correct.
And were you alone or were you with a partner?
I was with a partner.
And did you have a body-worn camera at the time?
Yes.
And was your body-worn camera functioning?
Yes.
And you've reviewed some video footage from your body-worn camera from,
Yes.
from this particular encounter. And that footage, does that fairly and accurately depict the encounter that you had at the Greenfield location back on January 6th, 2022?
At the location of Mr. Brazier's house?
Yes.
Yes.
And is it your understanding that that footage is on this disc that I'm holding that's been marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 20?
Yes.
And when you went to that location, the Greenfield location, what I guess specifically brought you to that location?
I believe we were speaking with Zion's mother, and she told us.
Objection to whatever Zion's mother said here, sir.
If I could rephrase, did you receive some information about Zion Foster?
Yes.
And based on that information, did you go to this Greenfield location?
Yes.
And did you go there to ask some questions of Jaylin Brazier?
Yes.
And when I say Jaylin Brazier, do you recall what he looked like?
Yes.
And do you happen to see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And just for the record, could you point to him and describe what he's wearing?
The young man in the blue tux with the green shirt.
Thank you. The record could reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant. And when you were at that location on January 6th, 2020, did you have a discussion with Mr. Brazier?
Yes.
And that discussion, is that recorded on this body-worn camera footage that's been marked as Proposed Exhibit 20?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit Proposed Exhibit 20.
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
And may I publish?
Yes.
So I'm just going to open it in a different PDF later. skip ahead to a minute of the video. And this image that we're looking at right here, is this the front of the house that you visited?
Correct.
And this particular vehicle, was that in the driveway at the time?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, 12-7. Can you show us that 19451 Greenfield in conjunction?
2147.
How you doing? Mr. Brazier?
Yes, sir.
What's your name, ma'am? Okay. Do you guys know Zion?
Yes.
Okay. So they were saying her phone pinged through here. You don't mind if we
Yeah, I'll give you a
just do?
And did you hear that? Was there some reference to made by the defendant as the last time he spoke with Zion?
In May
In
of
May.
21. Yes.
May of 21. Okay.
a year or so back where I jumped over with not doing gas and that was on fire. Her mom said, for Ted, he was also calling us Tuesday and said, listen, he's the one that kind of told her we were at our limit and he called us, or called me directly. I'm like, he called me, he said, he said, Zion told him and her mom that she was coming over here. I was like, she was never here. But her location, they said she was here.
Where the hell across the street.
I was like, but she was never here. I don't know. But anyway, that whole nonsense happened yesterday. Everybody's calling me. I have cameras to show her that she was never here.
Courtroom area, Panama 31, PPAB, 19353 minor.
Same thing I told them, same thing we're here. Look around, show them. Same thing we show y'all.
There, they came in there from here?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, well, just to say that we did it, you mind if we take a quick run through it?
The room, you go upstairs, that room is closed. There are my boys in there sleeping. And just don't close out wood. Don't go there. You can't open the door. Back there, they're spraying.
It will be quiet.
Yeah, check basement. Everything. I should have my cameras full.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
We don't have any dogs. No dogs, dogs.
Judge, is it possible to turn it off up on the system a little bit?
Yeah, call it about.
Yeah, say that.
Not while I'm scared, it's kind of not fun, but she told she was out of the store. She told me that I slow, and then she never saw her again. So I don't know. It's a lot of weird shit going on. It was weird to me that the boyfriend is the one that kind of told everybody. Zion's mom is started for everybody. The boyfriend heard my number. That's how the whole thing happened.
The boyfriend was sending all my address to his address instead of to him. He has two addresses. This one and that one across the street.
The address, his name's Cortez. Zion's mom. When he called us over at her, this is the address of her location on one iPhone, so he sent the link. That's directly across the street. They went to the house with some old ass people to stay there. So I'm assuming she had to come this way because she hasn't been here before. So her iPhone, it'll ping with air tags. But he gave us his address, right? But everybody else, he was saying she's our address and stressing. I'm like, bro, harassing the fuck out of me last night. Like, all night, I know she's there, bro. All she said, he said he's on the phone with her, her to do. I was like, it wasn't me, my nigga. Like,
It was a screenshot picture of her.
she's in a duplex. She was in a duplex. You know, duplexes, architecture are kind of similar.
At all.
It was I'm waiting for you guys to pop up. I'll tell you what's on that.
No, you're okay. I get it.
It's been stressing me the hell out. Because my issue, I told my auntie was here, and I was like, my issue is for the longest I knew this little girl's alibi. One, not gonna ask anything. She said, at least once or twice a month, I said she's with me. I was like, why? You didn't need to, hey, why the fuck would I be hanging with her to start with? You feel me? Like, you don't see me around. Our family don't really talk. I'm like, you think it's your fucking kid. So you're gonna see what she left with, who she's leaving with. You didn't even see she had a fucking coat on. But now I'm getting baited. I'm stressed. Like, you guys want to show you the camera sheet? Said it's on the floor. Can't show it.
We're just gonna look upstairs and then, you know, if anybody wants to protect me, come talk to you, anything, man, you know.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk to you. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah. I also like to be thorough. I've been doing this all day. I'm ready to get shit out. It's not the way. Camera system, we have a ring system. It only records. Yeah, it only records in the motion. So I think it comes to the door. Just take that. Okay. Times when I left, so I took her to work and we came back, went to the gas. Just basically showing this girl was never in my house. So
We believe you, man. Yeah.
and she's known to be a runaway. Like she's ran like 4 times. And every time she got some dude's house. Her mom knows this. Her mom's just playing it a certain way, and it's making me so fucking uncomfortable.
She's known to be running away?
Yes, I would assume you guys would know that. Not saying like you're not her job, just assume she would tell you the damn information.
Now we know.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Real quick.
That's what
What's your date of birth?
Y'all close?
Man, I'm from Texas. I don't know.
Y'all can see, but you think from Texas, I can see that too, man.
Yeah, I found out.
313-575-3050.
All right, well, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
All right, now, we'll take it easy.
You too. Gotta kind of give it a shoulder.
I didn't shut it all the way.
And sir, was the entirety of your interaction with Mr. Brazier recorded in what we just saw?
Yes.
Nothing was excluded from the recording.
Nothing.
When you looked through the house, did you see anything notable at all?
Nothing related to Zion. No. Nothing notable.
Thanks, nothing further.
Cross-examination?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Sergeant?
It was officer. I resigned.
Okay. What's your title with the fire department?
Just firefighter.
Okay, okay.
Firefighter
I just
EMT.
wanted to address you with the proper title. So when you arrived there, you said you didn't see anything out of the ordinary?
Correct.
You didn't see any evidence of like foul play or anything like that?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
You redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions from the jury? Seeing none, sir, you can step down. It's now 3:55. Can't imagine the next witness is going to be done in 5 minutes. So we'll return tomorrow